here to pick up a car that has been meticulously looked after by a fastidious owner. This car is something special, a car that's very rare, a classic. And Greg, the owner. Hi Greg.
Lee, hello mate, how are you?
Good,
Nice to meet you, mate.
Yeah, likewise.
Right, so this is it.
We're finally here.
Yes, it's taken a little while, but that's fine.
This is a special example.
Yes, it is.
This would be the best example I've ever come across.
Yeah,
That's why we said we had to have it.
Yeah, it's a great car.
Please tell me. Yeah.
All right, well,
you've owned it for?
Yeah, like I've owned the car exactly 16 years, well 16 years last week. The car was sold new in Singapore through Singapore Cycle and Carriage. Yep. It had a few local owners. It went to Malaya initially, and it was bought in 1967, in November 67, by an Australian Air Force officer serving at Butterworth in Malaya. He imported the car to Perth in 1969 at the end of his tour of duty, and he owned the car then for the next 36 years until he died in 2002. The car was then sold by him to a member of the Jaguar Drivers Club of Australia here in Sydney, and he brought the car to Sydney. He owned it until 2009, and we bought the car from him in September 2009, so we've owned it since then. The car was always very good. It had had a body restoration in the early 90s, but when I bought the car, there were a number of little things that I wasn't happy with, so I partially re-restored the car over the last 16 years. I like everything as original as it can possibly be. And I'm a member of the Jaguar Club. I've been a member for nearly 50 years. Yeah.
How many E-Types have you had? A substantial number.
25.
There you go. Who has ever had 25 Jaguar E-Types? So Greg, out of all people, would know E-Types a lot more than anybody else.
Yeah, I bought my first one in 1973, so
wow.
I've owned a lot of them ever since. This is the 207th of 357 that were produced between March 61 and the end of January 62.
So this is one of the very early ones that
this is very early.
Recommends to buy.
Yeah, these are the ones to buy. The flat floor, the early flat floor cars. Yep, 357. There are about 200 of them that survive worldwide, and I've got a listing on virtually every one.
Yeah, you keep a registry.
Yes, I've got cars listed that the register in England don't have. So there's a few here in Australia. There's about 16 of these early cars in Australia at the moment.
Well, shall we go over the engine bay
I'll do the engine first.
Yeah.
I'm trying to remember now. Right.
And how original.
Yeah, this is.
The nuts, bolts.
Yeah, this as the car is presented, that's exactly as it came out of the factory. Brake fluid reservoirs. That's the second type. There are 4 different types overall, but this is the second type that came in very early. The later ones are a plastic cap, which is a whitish colour. These early ones are only used for a few months. That's the early bellows type brake booster, which all these early cars had. The throttle linkage is unique to early cars. It was that was discontinued in December 61 to a 2-piece or 2-post throttle linkage. These early ones are all 3 are adjustable, and the later ones are not. Things like the head is these early cars were, well, this is all polished aluminium, but the head itself is painted what is termed pumpkin orange, and that was typical up until about December 61, and after that they went to a gold. But things like the plug lead carrier, the very early cars, they're this reddish or orangey sort of browny colour. Later they were all black. And the early cars are mounted on 2 and 5, and the later ones are on 4 and 5, but only these very early cars had this type of, this carrier exactly. These are the exhaust headers, which you see here are stove enamelled finish. That's how they came out of the factory originally. They never last though. Even the factory finish ones weren't much chop. They didn't last. They get too hot and overheated and whatever, and they all the it cracks and comes off. But I found a firm in Melbourne that do them, and they've done a great job for them. Yeah. So that's exactly the factory finish, and that's been on there for about 10 years. So I haven't had a problem. So it's lasted well if you look after it. Now, the other thing I was going to mention was the engine number, the engine block casting date. Now, that's an interesting thing to prove that the engine is the original. There's a casting date, which you can't see. I'll show you a bit later, actually. It's down here adjacent to the dipstick, and it's cast into the actual block. Okay. So the date that the block is cast, the day, the month and the year is cast into the block and can't be faked. Okay. So
if someone's replaced the block, you can tell.
You can tell.
By looking at that detail.
All Series 1 E-Types, as far as I've ever seen, all have the date cast on them. Later ones, Series 2s and 3s don't, as far as I know.
Because that's the problem, is finding an original numbers matched car that's genuine and hasn't been replicated.
That's exactly right.
Replicated parts out there, and you've got, machinists and things in the UK that try and make things with numbers.
They do.
It's good to find a car that's so genuine from 1961 until now, where it just remains original, and all it's had was some refinishing done, refurb, and it still looks nice and neat, and it still looks new.
Well, that's pretty much how it left the factory. Yeah, well, that's how it should look, without being over restored. I've seen people do things like chrome the rocker covers and things. Well, it's not right.
It's meant to be polished.
It's supposed to be polished.
Go over and above to try and win that extra half a point at Concord.
Well, cars can be over restored, and that's the problem. But that's pretty much everything under the bonnet. The early cars had these early type of separately pressed louvers. They were discontinued in early December '61. So that's pretty much under the bonnet, which is all as accurate as I can possibly get it. I'll show you that casting date on the block a little bit later. It should predate the production of the car or the completion of the car by about 4 to 6 weeks. Okay. So the blocks were cast about 4 to 6 weeks prior to completion. Everything else under there is correct. The battery is sort of a bit of interesting. The early all Series 1 new 2 E-Types originally had these capped or dome type of lead finishes, but you'll nearly always see they've just been replaced with standard battery leads. So that's that. There's also these little things, these two screws, there's two on each side. They were a leftover from when the very earliest cars had external bonnet locks, and these two screws on each side held the original bracket that held the lock in place, and that continued on for another few months after they finished doing it. So that's why they're still there. They didn't delete them. The early cars, up until around about October '61, had these body-coloured scoops underneath the headlights, and after that they all went to a silvered finish. But the early cars, until about mid-October '61, this car was completed on the 10th of October, had this early style of body-coloured scoops. All 3.8 E-Types, original right-hand ones, had these PL headlamps, these tripod PL headlamps. The American spec cars, all the left-hand ones, as far as I know, had just seal beams from new, so that was a little bit different. Jaguar put these cars into production really about 6 months before they were ready. Yeah. They showed them in. They did.
Such little time.
They did. They were first shown at the Geneva car show in mid-March 1961, and they only had about 5 cars completed, literally, and 2 of them were driven there from England to Geneva for the show. So it took them a long time to get things sorted out. They were continually changing everything. This is the original early type of steering wheel. Most cars you see in E-Types will have a recessed thumb groove around the rim here.
I've noticed that, yes.
But all these very early cars don't. They're they're rounded, thicker, and they have an exposed rim of aluminium around the inside of the the inside of the steering wheel, around the wheel itself. All later cars don't have that. So only 61 up to, or sometime in 62 they changed that.
Okay,
So but that's the original
window of getting the early series cars
Yeah.
to have all the early items which are now more valuable in the later cars, or even a Series 1 car with all the revisions, or a,
Yes.
you know, the bigger 4.2 litre. And
Yes, as I say, they were changing week to week, and virtually no two cars are the same. They're all different, which is great. That's what attracted me to these really early ones in the first place, because everything about them is unique. So they're all slightly different.
Okay, so now we have some real goodies here
Oh.
in the back.
Oh God, right. Where do you start? Yeah, well, yeah. That's the original owner's handbook, and that's just the original pouch. I've got photos in there showing certain things there. Well, that's just showing some of the original. Well, I'll just show you that. That's a head, right? Now this is a. That's not. Oh, this I'll give you this, but this is an original head, Jaguar head, that was sold only a few years back, and had been new old stock, and had been kept for 60 odd years.
Wow.
Right? But it just shows the areas. This one's a slightly later one because it's gold painted. It's not pumpkin, but it shows the areas of the head where it's painted. Right, and that vertical section below the cam covers on this one is not painted. So that's the way I've done it. Most cars you'll see, this will be painted, and it's not right, as far as I know.
That's a correct finish.
That's correct finish. Yeah,
Having this, let's call it an OCD, because I have an OCD for cars like this.
Yeah.
You've maintained every record possible, and if
I have.
anything was missing, you've gone, sourced it, found
I
it
have.
on the internet.
Yeah,
Come all over
well, that's
the world.
right. Well, that's an original cover for a parts book. It's all in raised print.
I like this.
Yeah, that's what.
Such an original.
Yeah, well, I use that. I put that in there because there's a little bit left in it, but that's already mixed. But the Penrite coolant is not coloured. There's not green or red or anything. It's clear, so it looks like you've got ordinary water in there.
Okay, so that's what this
that's
car
what you
would
use.
have had from.
Oh no, probably not. But I just like this Penrite.
Yeah, Penrite.
Because it's a good product. There's also stuff here. This
is in the original toolkit.
This is it. Yeah, I've got a complete original toolkit. That's an original jack. They're worth a fortune. Because nobody's got one. They threw them all out because they weren't very good. But these days, I sourced that one from Barrett's in the UK about 10 years ago. I'll just show you the toolkit.
Doing that, I can point out some
trophies,
some awards.
I've got a few awards.
There's one at Jaguar events as well.
Yeah, there's a few of that. They were just
amazing. And there's more here.
Yeah.
2 more there.
Yeah, that's.
So that's pretty awesome to have. And then a bit of history here.
Yeah, that's just
display plaque.
Yeah, that's a plaque I used to put up. It just gave a brief history of E-Type generally. That's an original toolkit. That's a correct 1961 kit, and they're almost non-existent.
Yes.
Anyway, I won't go through it. But
64 years old. I can't believe it.
Yeah. Well, mind you, it wasn't complete when I bought it. I had to
find the missing pieces there.
Yeah, I had to.
A puzzle, which is what I admire. That's exactly what I do with cars like this. So many classic Ferraris that are purchased in the past, Porsches. If things are missing, like Greg, I'll go and scour the internet, make phone calls all over the world, all corners of the world, just to find the parts that we need to complete a car.
Well, that's right.
And that's why people in our same wavelength get along, because we speak the car language. It's a universal language. All car enthusiasts would understand how much time, passion, dedication goes into perfecting cars like this. And then to win a concours event, it's not about just the car, how the car presents. It's also you, the owner, how you got it to that part, to that point to begin with, and the story behind it of your journey of recreating this car, finishing it off exactly like factory standards with every manual book possible tool in existence.
It's trying to get everything. There's other things. This is, well, very quickly, I won't go through all this stuff I've got, but this is just a history of the car. There are a few magazines, the club magazines with this car on the front. That's
This was front cover.
yeah, one of the magazines.
So the Jaguar magazine.
Yeah.
This car's on the front cover, and it's there again.
Yeah, well, well, it's not on that one, but there's an article in there about it,
Yep.
and another article in this one about it as well. But
It's
yeah, they're all that stuff.
We're obsessed.
This is that's something else. This is an original sales brochure,
Yeah.
and this is a factory original
So
one.
from 1961.
So 61. Yeah,
Okay,
that's
Holy Grail, don't
yeah.
we
There's
can't
a lot
open
of
it.
reproduction ones, but this is the original.
Yeah.
Anyway, we won't go into all that. You can always speak to me later about all this stuff. Anyway, there's other bits and pieces there.
We've got the
There's
spare wheel underneath.
spare wheels inside,
So
underneath.
So this is a
It's all there,
complete.
complete. Yeah, it's all there. Things like the early cars had the boot seal on the boot lid. Nearly every type you see will be around here. But these early cars, 61 into 62, were up there. So that's just another silly little thing. I've sort of gone to the nth degree to try at least and get everything exactly correct.
Yeah, thanks for explaining the car. Now,
Right.
I couldn't help myself, Greg. I've noticed you're a Jaguar enthusiast.
Yes.
You've got all the right tooling here.
Yes.
You've built up some signage back from the days.
Yeah, it's just things I've collected over the years.
Memorabilia,
Yeah.
books, photographs,
Yes, I've got lots
little
of.
model cars.
Yep.
It's just amazing. Like,
Yeah, I've got lots of. I've got lots of reference books for E-types. Just be careful, mate.
Yeah,
No, it's all
really
right. I might be greedy. If you're going to, this is the best one. This is the best originality guide.
Yep.
It's
And that's
haddock.
what you use to make sure this car is
Yeah.
completely.
Yes. Yeah. Well.
original
Yes, that's
and
right. I found a few things in here I didn't know, but you find all the time. This is an American production, Haddock and Muller, and it's the best originality guide for E-types. But I've got others as well, but they've all got mistakes in them.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, especially with early cars, they make mistakes. But you work it out as you go.
I appreciate this enthusiasm, and it shows and reflects
Yeah.
on a car like that. And yeah, Greg, thank you so much.
No, that's great, mate.
Yeah, thank you. And now I can't wait to take that for a drive.
Yeah.
Driving in the 1961 Jaguar E-Type. This thing is raw. Getting used to the gearbox is a bit hard. You've got to get it warmed up. You can't really use second gear. You've got to skip it. First gear is hard. It's got no synchro mesh. This thing is like driving an old F1 car. Your head is over the windscreen. Well, for me it is a 6'1", a big bloke, 255 pounds. And I'm sitting in here feeling like I'm Godzilla in this car. But wow, what joy these old cars that have a proper soul bring to you. This puts smiles on your face. On a nice Sunday to drive this is simply phenomenal. This car is just so raw. The way the throttle responds with the V, that inline 6-cylinder engine, 3.8 litre is sublime. You know what? As Enzo Ferrari once said, this is the most beautiful car ever made. I truly have to say that. Now, in this day and age, the 20th century, I gotta say, this thing is simply superb. And I love driving cars like this. The old classics have soul in them. They actually bring back what true cars are meant to be and what they drive like. Where you have no foot pedal size, you're straight onto the seat. Ergonomically, they're not correct, but they feel simply beautiful and amazing. Listening to that 6-cylinder engine, you know, overtaking, dropping a gear, like you can just hear that. On an open road, this thing is wow. And brake system, don't go there, they don't stop, but that's not what it's about. This is fun, bring back the 60s.